Hey YouTube, this is Brian here. I'm going to be doing my top 100 favorite musicians of all time video part 2. The last one was the video posted right before this. I'll probably put them all on a playlist after the series is done. So if you didn't see part number 1, check that out. But if you missed it, we were at number 11, which was Ella Fitzgerald, and we had moved on. Uh, the first entrant of this video is going to be Howlin' Wolf, one of the most powerful voices in all of the blues. Um, he wrote songs like Spoonful and Red Rooster and Killin' Floor, which I always love. Jimi Hendrix's live cover of from that concert when he lit his guitar on fire. I think yeah, that was a pretty crazy cover of Killin' Floor. Okay. Next up on my list, number 13, is going to be another blues musician, often called the king of slide guitar, Elmore James. He's famous for the song I Believe I'll Dust My Broom, but he also has some other awesome songs like It Hurts Me Too is another one, and The Sky is Crying. And a lot of people have acknowledged his influence over the years, and he, like Howlin' Wolf, has a very powerful voice. Um, really rocks the house down. Okay, number 14 on my list is going to be Neil Young. I discussed him in my top 10 favorite musicians list a couple of days ago, so I won't spend as much time on Neil Young, even though he's probably my favorite musician. A couple of my favorite songs from him are Harvest Moon, Cortez the Killer, Needle in the Damage Done, I think Down by the River. Um, I think another great one is Cinnamon Girl. I think he wrote those all while in bed with like 100-degree fever, and he wrote them all in one crazy bout. And yeah, that album has a lot of really, really awesome songs on it, a lot of classics. I think it's called Everybody Believes This Is Nobody. Or sorry, Everybody Believes This Is Nowhere, which was certified platinum according to my research. Yeah, and that was Neil Young's big break. He had previously been in Buffalo Springfield, and you don't want to forget his work in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. He's later gone on to do work with bands as diverse as Pearl Jam, on the 1995 album, I believe it was called Mirror Ball. Um, and that is some real open mindedness and diversity in talent. When your talent can go to that many different directions and you can make good songs in practically any style, I think that that's the sign of greatness. Number 15 on here is 70s rock band The Eagles, famous for Hotel California. My favorite song by them is Lion Eyes. Um, Lying Eyes, but not Lion Eyes like Lion, but Lyin. Yeah, I love their live performances a little bit more than their studio work. I think they broke up before their time, but they're very well represented, of course, on classic rock radio. You hear almost nothing but the Eagles and Steve Miller, it seems like, at least in my experience. AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and other bands that you hear a lot of. Let's get to number 16 on here. Shred guitarist Eddie Van Halen, and just the band Van Halen in general, I think deserves a spot on here. My favorite song by them is Panama. This isn't a style that I generally dabble in too much, but I think that because I play guitar, it's kind of like watching Art Tatum shredding on piano, seeing Eddie Van Halen go crazy on there, and I think he's influenced lots of guys like Buckethead, for example. Okay, let's go to number 17 on my list, which is folk trio Peter, Paul, and Mary. I think Mary Travers has one of the best voices in all of music. I think that the other two guys are a good accompaniment for her, but I think that she's really the core and center of the band. Um, I think they're most famous for Puff the Magic Dragon, um, but I think that they have a lot of really, really good songs that you should check out. Yeah. Number 18 on here is Simon and Garfunkel. My favorite song by them is it's called "The Sun Is Burning," which is actually a song about Hiroshima. Um, and it starts out happy, but it takes a really hard right. And yeah, that's a pretty heavy song, and it really kind of hits you where you don't expect it, to say the least. Yeah. Um, I think that these two really, really paired up well in terms of their talents, and they both had fantastic voices, and they were one of the best folk duos ever. "Sound of Silence" is one of my favorite songs to play on guitar, for instance, and I think Simon and Garfunkel will always be remembered. Number 19 is going in the complete opposite direction of that mellow, peaceful kind of butterfly in a meadow type sound. It's going to AC/DC, and that's about as far in the other direction as you could possibly go. Um, I love songs like "Back in Black," and I think that their work with Bon Scott uh, was really good, but I think that they really came into their own when they changed lead vocalists. Um, the guitar work in terms of the heaviness is always memorable, and draws on influences, I think, like Cream and the Sonics probably. But yeah, I think that these guys also are another band that you'll hear way more than enough of on classic rock radio. Okay, let's get to number 20 on my list, which is Django Reinhardt, the king of gypsy jazz. He'd previously lost his fingers and was left to having two of them um, in a car fire. He had been sleeping in his car when he was a young man with his a wife in there, and they were selling things out of their car to make money, and pretty much, yeah, he barely survived, and I think that in the end, though, it ended up kind of defining his style, and he teamed up with Stéphane Grappelli in the Quintet de Hot Club de France, and I think that he's one of the most influential and unique guitar players, um, certainly in the history of classical guitar. Um, yeah. Okay, let's go on to number 21. Uh, Poetic country musician Townes Van Zandt. He did a fantastic cover of "Send Me Dead Flowers for My Wedding," originally by, I think, the Rolling Stones, um, a cross genre cover, and it was really, really good. And he has other songs like "Snake Mountain" and "Lungs" and "Nothing." Um, his songs are generally very depressing, so if you're gonna check him out, I warn you that he'll probably send your mood down into a pit toilet, because he's pretty depressing. Um, he struggled with alcoholism and I think a heroin addiction. Um, yeah, throughout his life. So a lot of his music, as you would expect, covers rather heavy and sad topics, frankly, like that. Number 22 is 60s jam band The Grateful Dead. Um, I got their whole career retrospective set, like a 12 disc set, um, a couple of years ago, and it was worth the investment because Though I wasn't terribly familiar with them at the time, I've since listened through almost all of those discs, and I think my favorite song in there um, is the semi Roy Moore-ish um, "Good Morning Little Schoolgirl." It's a little bit creepy, but it's a really good rock song at the same time, and you know that it's meant in harmless good spirit, and that it was a different time in terms of flirting and standards, and what was considered misconduct. But yeah, it certainly was a really really um, uh, rocking song. Yeah. Let's get back to the list. Okay, having a little bit of trouble seeing here. Number 23 is Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan has wrote so many awesome songs. He's practically helped set the foundation of music, certainly in folk, and he's kind of, I think, been one of the defining guys in the more modern era of that folk singer traveling on the road, writing his own music, and playing the guitar and just singing. And it doesn't matter how his voice sounds. He's just telling his own story out there. And Bob Dylan's still around today. Um, he's written so many classics. My favorite is "Goodbye Baby Blue." Um, I think Joan Baez also did an excellent cover of that. But yeah, Bob Dylan has really helped lay the bricks, the foundation of music by writing as many classics as he did. We're getting towards the end of this video. I'll probably do one more entry here, uh, and that's going to be number 24. Leonard Skinner, the Southern rock band who was previously on my top 10 favorites. I think that they introduced me largely, along with my brother, to the country music style. They were one of the reasons I think I gave it a chance when he showed me artists like Hank Williams and Waylon Jennings and Jerry Jeff Walker. Um, it was previously because I'd heard songs like That Smell and, Give Me Three Steps, Mister, and Was I Right or Wrong? And of course, there's always the ever omnipresent Freebird. But I think that Leonard Skinner, I think that they really helped me expand my taste in music, and I think that it's certainly, of course, sad that they passed in that plane accident. Um, but you can't overlook the talent of guys like Steve Gaines, their slide guitar player, um, for what this band was able to leave us all to listen to. They have an incredible legacy. Anyways, I think I'm out for today. Thank you for watching.